Welcome to the Steel City inside the Peterson Event Center as we get set for session 2 of the second round, and that features the number 2 Florida Gators, the 15-seed Arizona State, number 24 Maryland, and also Penn State, who got through past Towson in the first round yesterday. Hi there again, along with 9-time NCAA champion Bridget Sloan. I'm Alex Perlman, and Bridget, first and foremost, this is our first look at number 2 Florida. Trinity Thomas and all as they try to go for a 4th national championship.
Florida coming into tonight's competition, number 2, they looked fabulous in warm-up. They've looked exceptional all season long, and I don't see a reason that they would change that tonight.
They have to finish in the top 2. And looking at the bracket here in Pittsburgh, well, between these 4 teams, they are trying to join Cal and Michigan State. It was all chalk in the first session today of the second round, with both the Golden Bears and the Spartans moving on. Here's how it works. 4 teams competing at the same time, which means that there will be 4 boxes on your screen. It's going to get a little chaotic. Bridget and I will try to work through it with you. But the most important thing, the top 2 teams move on. It doesn't matter if you finish number 1 or number 2. Those 2 teams will advance to the regional final to face Cal and Michigan State on Sunday. Numbers 3 and 4, unfortunately, their seasons will be over. So on the top left is where Penn State will begin with Alina Virova on vault. Big step back there, and a mistake to start things off for the Nittany Lions, who really need a big meet in order to compete with the likes of Maryland, Arizona State, and Florida. The top right is bars, and that's where Maryland begins. Florida's on beam as Sloan Blakely starts things off, and then floor for Arizona State with Kayla Lee.
And starting off on beam, head coach Jenny Rowland told us she's excited to get it out of the way. They haven't started on beam a lot, and this is an opportunity for her athletes to really show that no matter where they start, they can show up and hit. Sloan Blakely doing a nice job so far in this leadoff position.
So many stars on this Florida team that you would think that the Gators are absolutely going to challenge for a national championship. Last
and
season,
a gainer full
finishing as a runner-up.
For Sloan Blakely, nice job. Only error I saw in that routine came out of back handspring, which looked like a very uncharacteristic balance check. Recovered, got it right back, and hit a solid rest of her routine.
Swinging on bars for Maryland, Rhea LeBlanc, as she finishes off the beginning of her night for the Terrapins with a stick.
And a nice double layout dismount, very nice. Head coach Brett Nelligan was so confident in his team. I loved hearing just you could tell he has so much passion for the sport of gymnastics and what it has given him, and now he's giving back in this head coaching role. Really excited to see what they do tonight. And take a look at this double layout dismount, nice height, and just a nice stuck landing.
That is a really good start for Maryland, and Penn State rebounding as well from Virova's fall with Maddie Johnston. You can see on the bottom right of your screen for Arizona State, head coach Jay Santos, now in his 7th season, has gotten this team seeded in the NCAA Regionals for the 3rd straight year, making their 5th straight trip to NCAA Regionals.
Alex, we talk a lot about teams that are on the rise, and really it's an amazing thing to accomplish because all these teams here competing today are still on that rise. Arizona State really making an impact this year. They have so many athletes who he knows can do it, especially senior Hannah Sharp. You'll see her later on floor exercise, but really just exciting gymnastics all around tonight.
Sharp is the anchor. Kayla Lee for the Sun Devils started off with a 9.8. Sarah Clark now on the bottom right side of your screen. Top right, Victoria Gatzendorfer following up LeBlanc's 9.825 for Maryland in the leadoff. And And on the bottom left is Ellie Lazari for Florida. Just waiting on Sloan Blakely's score, that is.
And Ellie starts this triple series, handspring, layout, step out, layout, step out. Beautiful job.
Blakely's score was a 9.875. This is the third-ranked beam team in the country in Florida. They are top 5 in every single apparatus, second in the country on bars, and also floor exercise, which they will get to next.
And Ellie only does balance beam. So this is a big moment for her. Normally they end on balance beam. Her getting it out of the way. Nice gainer full, just a hop on the landing, but such a strong performance. And Sarah Clark wrapping things up in that second position on floor exercise. Nice height, nice control on all her landings. You're not going to see massive difficulty from Arizona State on floor, but you will see nice, clean landings. In that bottom left, that is Ellie Lazari's beautiful triple series. And then this gainer full, just a shuffle at the feet. You saw she took a hop backwards. Really, that was the biggest deduction in that beam routine.
And there is Isabella Salcedo for Penn State in the top left, following up a couple of 9.8s after Virova sat down on her vault. This is a great start now for the Nittany Lions if they can get 2 more hits on vault.
And that's saying a lot. Penn State competed yesterday. This is now back-to-back days to compete. That is extremely challenging. Take a look at this. Gorgeous height, great distance, and a nice solid landing. Just to hop on that landing, but ultimately a great, great vault.
The finish on bars for Tasha Brzezowski, following up Gatzendorfer's 9.8. Nothing below a 9.8 at the moment for Maryland on bars. And if Arizona State slips up in any way, you have a feeling that the Terps are going to be there when it's all said and done. They're only separated by about 4/10 when it comes to the NQS and the qualifying.
A lot of emotion for Maryland over on bars. That is one thing that you can't teach. You can't teach these athletes to be passionate about something, and Maryland just brings it.
Top left, that's Jessie Johansson for Penn State, with just the anchor Ava Piedrahita to go, who is the all-arounder as well for Penn State. Piedrahita does a very unique vault as well that you want to see in the top left. Keep your eye out for the Omelianchik, which in layman's terms, Bridget, is
a Yurchenko half on, front pike off.
It is
bottom left for Florida.
Pretty special looking too.
Kayla DiCello, an outstanding athlete before coming to college, and now has just adapted and really bought into her college experience. Stuck dismount.
DiCello, the SEC Freshman of the Year, was named SEC Freshman of the Week 8 times, 6 in a row. Both of those are Southeastern Conference records. 3 straight 9.8s for Penn State in the top left on vault. Now a 9.7 comes in for Johansson. So they'll have to count that one, but we wait on Piedrahita.
And in that bottom left, Kayla answering with just, she's so dynamic in her movements and gets the stuck landing. But this vault,
stuck
wow.
It. Absolutely stuck it. Big score coming for Piedrahita in the anchor spot for Penn State.
Absolutely great height. It's a blind landing. And what I love most about that vault, she lands it with her chest so high. Lands it proudly, and that was massive. Yurchenko half on, front pike off. And you see she opens, finds that landing, and no movement. That is a 10-0 start value for Penn State.
Not a lot of deductions there for the Nittany Lions. We wait on the score for Piedrahita and Penn State. We are also waiting on DiCello's score for Florida on beam, as on the bottom right part of your screen. Jordan Jaslow goes for Arizona State. Right now they're dropping a 9-8 with a couple of 9.875s from Clark and Alex Theodoro.
Opens up with a very nice sky high, nice controlled double pike for Jordan.
Here's the start of the night though on the bottom left for Trinity Thomas. You know by now she is only 2 perfect 10-0s away from breaking the all-time record, sitting at 28, set by UCLA's Jamie Dancher and Kentucky's Jenny Hansen. Is she going to get one of them, or who knows, maybe even 2 here tonight? She already has 6 10-0s on beam in her career, 3 of them coming this year. And to think she did not get a single one in her freshman season. Slight hop back, so that's not going to be that, but an excellent start for Thomas, because remember, she is also trying to put up a big number in the all-around.
Of course, and when we talked to Jenny, she mentioned, we had to ask, do you talk to her about the perfect 10 situation? And she said, no, not really. And when you talk to Trinity, Trinity wants to do well for her team. And ultimately, when she does well for her team, it means she's doing well for herself. She is capable of so much greatness. She's got a couple meets left in her, and I wouldn't be surprised if she gets those 2 10s. But again, I'm not here to jinx anybody. She's going to go out there and do her job regardless. And she has just been exceptional for this Florida team.
Well, she got 3 of them alone in the NCAA championships in Fort Worth last year. She's the reigning all-around bars and floor champion in NCAA and got one in the semifinal meet. So, you know what? You won't put it past her, even if she only has 2 or 1 meet left at that point. By the way, Piedrahita's vault was a 9-9, so that puts Penn State's vault rotation at 49. Great start, exactly where they needed to be. Tied for 26th in the country. That is their best rotation, so they did need to put up a 49 plus to kind of stay in the conversation. On bars for Maryland on the top, getting ready for Emma Silberman, a terrific all-arounder for the Terrapins, named All Big Ten second team. She has just really come on, a former walk-on. Brett Nelligan, the head coach, telling us that he put her in 2 events. The first meet, the next meet was 3, and then the following she won the all-around and hasn't taken her out since, pretty much.
Emma
Silberman's score was a 9.85, so this is actually Aleka Chiknius. Good start for Silberman and for Maryland. Right now they're dropping a 9.8. Everything else 9.825 or higher with a couple of 9.85s.
Gotta let those scores build. And double layout. Little hop on that landing, but so clean. Maryland is really showcasing the detail work that they put in the gym, and now they're applying it to the meet. And you can't ask for much more. They know they're coming in here at 24th. They know they're going to have to show up.
Clearly not affected at all as Leanne Wong stumbles a little bit on her dismount on beam. You can see she's a touch disappointed following up Trinity Thomas's 9.9. Right now, Florida's lowest score is 9.875 from Sloan Blakely. We will have one individual on bars getting ready for Towson, who was eliminated by Penn State yesterday. Isabella Minervini is getting set, and on the bottom right is Emily White, who is in the 5 spot for Arizona State.
Nice combination pass.
Sun Devils have been extremely consistent so far. 2 9.875s and a 9.85 to count. That should be another great score coming in now for White.
And this last pass on floor for Arizona State, they are really doing an excellent job of controlling their landings. Emily White having way too much fun out there on floor. And to anchor this Arizona State floor rotation, Hannah Sharp, she has been detrimental to this team, has proven herself year in, year out, is now a senior. She can put up a really big number for them.
I would not be surprised. Hannah Sharp named All Pac-12 first team in the all-around and on floor. Third time that she's been named that in the all-around. We will see her competing in all 4 events as Sharp gets ready to go, following up Emily White's 9.9. There's some pressure early on from Arizona State, doing exactly what they need to. And on the left side of your screen is Riley McCusker, who took a while to get into the lineup. We all know what she was capable of. A 5-year veteran of the U.S. senior national team and won a gold medal at the 2018 World Championships. And I wouldn't say Florida's taken off since she got back in the lineup, because they've been great from the very beginning of the year, but they are kind of on a different level now with her in there.
It's been really nice to see her get into the groove of college gymnastics, a place where everybody knew she could get, and she just needed to believe in herself. And she is out there having so much fun and so much joy back in her gymnastics. Excellent beam routine for Riley and Hannah.
And by the way, I was going to say the individual, Isabella Minervini for Towson, her score came in at a 9.95. The chances of her advancing as an individual to Fort Worth
are very
high after that. Absolutely, because the top scorer on each event, as well as the top all-arounder that is not on the 2 teams that are advancing to nationals, we won't know until Sunday night who is. I would think that Minervini is going to be right up there.
Fabulous
she throws
routine.
The pitchfork to finish it off, Bridget. You got to love that.
You have to, and she brings so much energy to this team, is a leader in the gym, outside of the gym, and those are things that you can't teach. That experience, she just has that experience and oozes with the confidence. Really special athlete. I know Jay is a little upset to have her graduate.
Yes, but pretty set on returning next year for her 5th season. So not quite yet. After next year, they're going to say goodbye to her. They do have 1 more season, thankfully. And so 1 rotation is in the books. Florida doing exactly what you expected, and they have the lead. Arizona State in 2nd. Maryland very close in 3rd. We'll break it down when we come back. Trinity Thomas's night began on beam for Florida with a 9.9. It's the Gators sitting in 1st, Arizona State in 2nd, but Maryland and Penn State not far behind. 1 rotation in the books, and, well, we saw some standout performances already. Let's begin with Ava Piedrahita. This is a outstanding vault, coming in at 9.9 on the Omelianchik.
Incredible vault for her. Uneven bars, Isabella Minervini. This is beautiful. I mean, this is textbook with her technique, and what I love is she holds that dismount, and that was a 9.95.
Kayla DiCello on beam for Florida, finishing off a terrific 9.95 routine. Gators end up going 49.575 on beam.
An absolute stud for Florida, and Hannah Sharp over on floor. The senior puts up a 9.925 for Arizona State. An amazing athlete to have anchor one of their best events.
Scharf, the first team all Pac-12 all-arounder, and so through one rotation. I mean, look how close this is right now. Maryland, I wouldn't say a big surprise, but they did exactly what they needed to do, and they are right there. I mean, they are still within shouting distance, a 10th and a half behind Arizona State after one.
Maryland knew coming in it was not going to be a shoo-in advancing to Sunday, but they believe. They believe in themselves, and if you're looking at the scores, you're right. They are right in the mix there. They just need to be clean, focus on themselves, keep those blinders up, because it is just them, the team, and that event that they're competing on.
So what are we looking for here in session 2 in Pittsburgh? Well, there are a lot of storylines to follow, and it starts and ends with the 10-0 watch, I think, for Trinity Thomas and the Florida Gators, who just year in and year out contend for a national championship. There's no surprises there. Arizona State should advance when you look at it on paper, but Maryland is going to make it very, very difficult. They have their highest NCAA regional score in program history last season, and we are excited at what they have been able to do this year as well, coming in with a 196.7 NQS. And then Penn State is kind of the dark horse in all of this. Should they put it together? Their season high is 197.025, Bridget. They've got a shot.
They absolutely do, and right now Penn State, they're coming off of the play-in meet. So this is the second day. If I was Penn State, I would just want to go out there and hit. Not just for my team, but just for myself, build that confidence. So far, they're doing a really nice job. That solid 49 on vault, right where they need to be, and then they're going on to uneven bars. A really great event for them.
And so the Nittany Lions start there. Beam is where Maryland will begin. Florida will be on floor, and Arizona State transfers over to the vault. Or rotation of 49.425. They are just a 10th and a half behind Florida at this point. The top three are really close, and then if Penn State can put together a great rotation here in the second, they can put some pressure on as well. For Arizona State, in rotation number 2, they lead off with Jordan Jaslow. First time we get to see Jada Mangahaz, who has been a big part of what the Sun Devils have done. Vault, floor, and bars generally is what we see her on. Did not see her on floor, though. And on the top left, on vault, Jordan Jaslow.
Very nice start for Arizona State. Yurchenko full. They don't have a lot of difficulty in their vault lineup, but what they are working on are those clean landings and the execution. This is where they might not be able to take a huge step towards getting closer to Florida necessarily, but they can definitely bridge that gap and make it a little bit smaller if they're clean and concise on vault.
And bottom left for Maryland on beam, the all-arounder Emma Silberman begins. Top right now for Penn State. They get their second rotation underway with Jessie Johansson. And for Florida, Victoria Wynn on the bottom right in the leadoff. Jenny Rowland told us this year it has not been easy to put lineups together with all of the star power she has.
It's not a bad problem to have.
No, it's not. She said that she doesn't think that they have the same lineup for any meet back-to-back, and everybody that could compete did this year.
Jenny really spoke highly about the fact that she wants to give her athletes the opportunity, because you never know what's going to happen in a meet and who you're going to have to throw in, and she's got full confidence in her team no matter what. They will always put up the best 6, but choosing the best 6 has been a little more difficult, I think, than what she thought it was going to be.
Victoria Wynn closes off the leadoff routine for Florida on the bottom right. You saw vault, on the top left, coming for Arizona State, and Emily White following up Jaslow's 9-8. And there's Menga Haas with Jay Santos as he gives some vivacious pointers.
Little words of advice right before you go. Just the usual.
Not just words, but a lot of movement there. Bottom left is Olivia Weir on beam for Maryland getting set. Penn State's Maddie Johnston just saluted on the top right.
This is a really strong bar team for Penn State. Yesterday, they gave a lot away with the dismounts and the attempted stuck landings. Really would love to see them get some of those today. Just like that. Excellent work. Nice and clean routine for Maddie Johnston.
And Menga Haas lands her vault nicely on the top left. The junior from Allentown, Pennsylvania, just under 5 hours from Pittsburgh. So maybe not super close, but it's a lot closer than Tempe.
Still drivable.
Oh, for sure. And there's Weir on the bottom left for Maryland on beam, following up the 9.775 from Emma Silberman. Rachel Bauman begins on floor now. A 9.925 coming in for Victoria Wynn. Floor is really where teams can capitalize. And of course the Gators are one of the best, second in the country. But this is where the scores were clearly the highest in session one. The judges were a little more lenient because they were not on vault. And I would say on beam they were playing it pretty close to the vest.
They were a little tight this afternoon. They're going to have to play it tight here. But floor was definitely, you noticed the bigger scores. And you saw the athletes really performing out there, which is, again, a testimony to them and all the capabilities that they bring to this meet.
Elena Virova on the top right for Penn State. It's an excellent bars rotation. Actually, they had 3 individual qualifiers, even if they weren't able to defeat Towson yesterday and advance to the second round.
And a nice stuck landing. Sticks are contagious, and Penn State not wanting to give anything away. Oh, and out of bounds.
That heel definitely went out of bounds, didn't it, for Bauman?
Rachel Bauman definitely out of bounds. Just had a little too much juice on that last pass. It was a double pike, and just she held on to her legs just a second too long.
And so the Gators are definitely going to want to drop that score when it comes in. Again, they started with wins 9.925, so no issues there. On vault so far for Arizona State, they have gone nothing below 9.8. They can drop a 9.8 at this moment, along with a 9.875 and a 9.9.
And another look right here, that bottom right. You see right there, that right heel, it dropped. She tried to save it, and she fought to stay inbound, but ultimately that is going to be a 10th deduction.
Anaya Smith with a false start on the top left. She'll get a chance to go back and redo it. Bridget, what does this do mentally now?
It's very hard. It can be, I always thought vault was very mentally challenging. It was for me. It's very easy to get in your head about counting your steps, about almost kind of the superstition. And you see Jay Santos talking to her.
And so Anaya Smith will get one more chance. On the top right is Gabby Galentine on bars for Penn State. Here's Smith on the top left for the Sun Devils.
Man, would love to see her land that a little nicer. Again, she had the false start, goes back. Mentally can be really rough, and ultimately wanting her to be safe and confident in her gymnastics. So having her land on her feet is important. That is
yes,
a huge,
absolutely.
that is a huge moment for her. It's a 10-0 start value, has the ability to be a huge score for them.
And just had a Scharf to come for Arizona State. So hopefully Smith's score can go away for the Sun Devils, and they'll count a couple of 9.8s right now, a 9.875 and a 9.9. And so on the bottom right, Rachel Bauman's score comes in as a 9.7, and Peyton Richards on floor in the number 3 spot for Jenny Rowland's Gators. Richards reintroduced into the floor lineup after 3 meets off in January and February. Jenny told us that this year, Peyton has just been herself, kind of rediscovered her love of gymnastics.
And she is exceptional on floor exercise.
Four straight scores of 9.9 or better, with 3 straight 9.9s coming on floor routine. Hannah Scharf following up the 9.65 from Smith. All right, this is a very good vault rotation now for Arizona State. They have come in here and really impressed. Not like what happened last season where they finished last in the Norman Regional in session 2. Very different look.
And this was outstanding. Opens her hips. You saw that laid out position, no pike down, and just the tiniest hop on the landing. That's a 9.95 start value. It's going to be a big one.
The 9.65 is sure to go away now for Arizona State. So they should hold on to the 2 spot, depending on what Florida can do here to finish off. Remember, they had a 10.5 lead, but they were up by 3/10 when you talk about the gap between first and third. You have to be in the top 2 in order to advance to the regional final. Those are the magic numbers, 1 and 2. Maryland's low score at the moment on beam, bottom left, is a 9.75. This is Reese McClure. Ooh, held it on. Following up Deepa Berry's 9.825.
Reese is capable of 9.9 plus. Nice front toss to beat jump. And a Rudy off the end, just a hop on that landing, very clean, concise, just a few balance checks, but ultimately finished very strong.
Top of your screen is Cassidy Rushlow after Piedrahita's 9.9 for Penn State. Right now they're dropping a 9.75. Nittany Lions are not showing any signs of going away. And there's Leanne Wong on the bottom right, one of the better floor performers in the country this season.
Open with a huge Arabian double pike into her stack jump. She is just gorgeous to watch on this event, so elegant.
She already has 5 career 10s as just a sophomore. None of them, though, by the way, have come on floor. Her career high right now at 9.975, so as close as you could possibly come. Now we wait on the final score for Rushlow up at the top of your screen to see what Penn State's second rotation score comes in as. Arizona State with a very solid 49.225. They are right in the middle of qualifying position. A bit of a bounce back there for Leanne after the 9.85 on beam.
Absolutely. You know she was not happy with that 9.85, but what a performance to come back on floor exercise. She is so elegant and beautiful, but man, can she tumble. She's sky high, and she always finds her landings, which is so impressive. Opens things up. Arabian double pike into her stack jump.
Should be a great score coming up. Watch on the left side on beam. Maddie Komorowski is such a beautiful beam worker from Pittsburgh. She has 50 to 60 kids coming from her local gym to support her not too far away in Maryland for her college career, and a couple of 9.825s right before her for the Terps. Again, still just dropping that 9.75 from Weir.
And Maddie is such a calm beam worker. Nice beat jump to sheep jump. Showcasing that extension in her hips.
And Trinity Thomas on the right side for Florida on floor, where she has 12 career 10-0s, 2 times this year, including at SECs. Is this going to be the record tire?
She's going to open. This is a sky-high double layout. So impressive.
Trinity Thomas is as good as it gets on the floor in gymnastics. Oh my goodness. And Trinity stops in the middle of her routine and crying as she walks off. Oh my goodness. On the cusp of a record after 3 national championships. She gets tended to by the athletic trainer and Jenny Rowland. I've never seen anything like that. Her stop in the middle of her routine. And this is the last thing anybody wanted to see. Competing in her final season. She has so much family here from York, Pennsylvania, just a 3.5-hour drive to Pittsburgh. So many family members that have never seen her compete in action in college.
And just a beautiful double layout.
And when did she realize that something was wrong?
Ultimately hoping it is nothing serious. And one thing, it's really hard for an athlete to call it mid-routine. These athletes want to compete, but being safe out there is ultimately the top priority.
We will try to get you as much of an update as we possibly can, but it's going to be Kayla DiCello now in the anchor spot, and Florida's going to have to drop that score. They'll count Rachel Bauman's 9.7 after 9.975 from Leanne Wong, but if we're being completely honest, you're not even thinking about a score at this point. You're thinking about one of the best gymnastics legends to ever compete in her final NCAA regionals, walking off the floor with an injury. And she did go into the medical tent. We've received confirmation. So she is being tended to. Maryland on the left side, finishing off their beam rotation with Josephine Kogler. But I mean, you could hear the arena. If you could hear silence, you heard it.
Yeah, definitely not. Just a very uncharacteristic all around for Trinity. She is such a competitor. But again, like I said, safety first, and she knows her body better than anybody. There's no risk, no reason to put her at risk. And
not at all.
Just hoping for everything to be okay with her. Definitely an athlete who is not finished yet. She's still got a little bit left in that tank.
And in all practical terms, if Florida does what it's supposed to do the rest of this meet, they will be competing on Sunday. And so if there's any question about, Trinity not being 100% for either Sunday or maybe even Fort Worth, if Florida is able to advance, which they are heavily favored to do. Remember, they have to finish top 2 tonight, and then they have to finish top 2 on Friday in order to do that. We shall see. The individual now on beam is Ella Kamadi. She is the only one to go on beam out of Eastern Michigan. The only qualifier for EMU, second straight year she's qualified on beam. And then on the right side, I mean, if you're Kayla DiCello, Bridget, how do you follow up what just happened for Florida?
You think about yourself and you think about your performance. It is extremely hard coming after a fall. It is even harder coming after, because these are not just their teammates. These are their friends. These are their sisters out there. So for Kayla right now, she's got the experience coming from the elite world. She is so talented, and really this is her moment to show up for not just herself, but for her team.
Florida looks on as Kamadi finishes on beam with her dismount. Some great scores across the board. Penn State tallying a 49.325. Waiting for Florida to finish on vault for Arizona State, a 49.225. And for Maryland, a 49.175. It's going to be very close still after two rotations. And now this is an extremely long pause because the judges have to figure out, what do we even give Trinity Thomas at this point?
There was definitely a little judges powwow going on for sure. But Kayla DiCello, she's beautiful on this event. She's beautiful on all four events, but floor, she's got big tumbling.
Trinity Thomas's score comes in as a 6.925. Clearly the one that Florida's going to try to get rid of. Little stumble there on the pass for DiCello.
Leap series switch ring to switch half. Gorgeous line showcasing that 180-degree split.
Ella Kamadi's score for Eastern Michigan just came in as a 9.9. Excellent beam routine. Now you see the scores right now. They are going to have to count Rachel Bauman's 9.7 as long as DiCello can finish off this floor routine with no issues. And
Which she does.
Just that.
No problems there.
Remember, it doesn't matter if you get a 198, a 197. Score doesn't matter in this meet as long as you are in the top two. So yes, Florida would like to keep that momentum running, I'm sure, but the mission at hand is pretty clear.
No doubt. And for Florida right now, it's really, this is where the entire coaching staff is going to pull them together, let them know things are going to happen. You never want to see an injury, but when something happens, this is the moment where the athletes can rise to the occasion. The meet is not over yet. We are only 2 rotations in. There is still a second half of this meet to go.
We still have one more competitor coming on floor, following up Kayla DiCello in the anchor spot for Florida. Temple's Brooke Donabedian about to start and end her night. This is the only routine that she will do. Second straight year qualifying on floor with 5 titles this year. Just waiting on DiCello's score. Right now, Arizona State in a great spot. Maryland is still keeping the pressure on. Penn State is not backing down. And the Gators doing exactly what they need to do. Leanne Wong's score with a 9.975, tying her career high on floor for Florida, coming just 1 judge shy of a perfect 10. And now DiCello's score is in as a 9.9. So when it's all said and done, Florida doesn't miss a beat, even with the Trinity Thomas potential injury of 49-4 on floor.
Brooke gonna open things up here. Handspring 1.5 to back layout, step out.
Donabedian more than capable of a huge score here on floor. Came in with an NQS of 9.915. And remember, if she has the highest score on this apparatus of any gymnast that is not advancing to nationals with their teams, she is going to get her ticket to Fort Worth as well. So there's a lot on the line here for these individuals tonight.
Here she goes, front handspring, double twist, little stumble on that landing. It looked like she actually slid just a little bit on the mat. Recovers well and really just hit a nice clean set.
One of her feet, it seemed like, was on the floor, and then one of them hit the mat, and you're right, I think slid a bit forward. But Bridget, this is as close as we could have anticipated after the second rotation.
It's always interesting at regionals, I'll say that.
And right now, Arizona State is holding on to second, but Maryland is just 0.2 behind. 3/4 of a tenth back of third is Penn State. We still have a lot to do here in Pittsburgh, and we'll come back and break it down right after this. But at the moment, the world holding its collective breath, wondering if Trinity Thomas is okay after walking off of her floor routine. Florida holding on to first place with that 98.975. They are pretty well clear of third, as you would expect. We've gotten word that Bree Edwards is going to be in the third rotation on vault for Florida in place of Trinity Thomas. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. Let's get to our highlights from rotation number 2. Starting with Arizona State. This was an excellent vault for Alex Theodoro, coming in with a 9.9.
Huge vault, great execution, and a stuck landing. Over
Cassidy
2
Rushlow,
bars.
Penn State.
And this was a massive 9.95 in that anchor position.
So remember, that could certainly advance as an individual score to Fort Worth. Josephine Kogler could do the same potentially here with an excellent 9.9 on beam from Maryland. And then the standout for Florida was Leanne Wong, a 9.975, which ties her career high.
Just a gorgeous performer, amazing tumbling, and she fights for perfection every time, and she nearly got it with that 9.975.
Just one judge away from perfection. You see, Florida has increased its lead to 3 1/4 tenths, though of course the fight for second is what we have our eye on. That is what is important, and at the moment, Arizona State leads Maryland by 0.2. Penn State only by 3 1/4 tenths. All 3 of those teams are still in the running to advance halfway through. Just incredible. And what are they trying to get to? Well, the regional final, which is Sunday night, 5 o'clock Eastern. Bridget and I will be right back with you to bring it to you on ESPN+. We know that the 2 national seeds have advanced already, Cal and Michigan State. Bridget did not have their best meets. We would expect them to come locked and loaded and much more, I wouldn't say prepared, but probably a little bit better execution level on Sunday.
Absolutely. They have things to work on. And that is the beauty of gymnastics, is if you're not scoring a perfect 10 every weekend, you've got things to work on. Cal and Michigan State both had really good performances earlier this afternoon, but not a perfect day for either team, so they're definitely going to want to come in Sunday just locked in a little bit tighter and just want to be as perfect as they can be and just put up some good scores.
And so in rotation number 3, the Gators will insert Bree Edwards into the 5 spot for Trinity Thomas, though we are being told that Trinity walked back on her own out to the arena. There she is, a hug from Morgan Hurd. Hopefully everything is okay for one of the best gymnasts on the planet. And an incredible person, an incredible teammate, which is honestly just as important.
Absolutely. Very happy to see her walking. Looks like she's in very good spirits. Not the way she wanted to do that floor routine at all, but again, the safety and health of these athletes is the top priority. So to see her walking on her own and a smile on her face is a very good thing.
Yeah, that is exactly what you would hope for. Bars is where Arizona State will start. Now you can see the leadoff, Gracie Reeves, getting ready to go. Right now a 2/10 lead over Maryland for the second and final qualifying spot. Look out for Jade Mangahas. Can put up a big number in the 3-hole, and so can Hannah Scharf, the terrific all-arounder for the Sun Devils. Florida's on vault, beam for Penn State, floor for Maryland. Bottom right on bars for Arizona State, or top right, that is Reeves. Leanne Wong salutes to get Florida underway on vault, which is their lowest ranked rotation, and they are number 5 in the country.
And Leanne's got a huge vault here. Just a hop on the landing, just a little lack of control on that landing, but a 10-0 start value. The first 5 vaults for Florida are 10-0 start values, or they were with Trinity. I know Bree Edwards will be in for Trinity, which she normally does a Yurchenko full. Who knows, she might whip out, oh, Yurchenko 1.5. But the depth that Florida has is what is so impressive.
And Jenny Rowland tinkered with the lineup as well, flip-flopping Leanne Wong and Peyton Richards. So there's Peyton getting ready to go after Leanne's score comes in. The bottom right on floor from Maryland is Taylor Reck to lead off. And then on the bottom left is beam Penn State's Ava Pietrahita. Pietrahita's career high is a 9.875 on beam. And she comes in with pretty high accolades for Penn State, as well. Was 3rd in the all-around at the Lucan Cup in 2019 for juniors. You might recognize the name who won, Gabby Gladio of Alabama.
A lot of talent on Penn State's team. And again, another team, they're on the rise. Ava ending that routine with a very nice 1.5, almost stuck dismount.
Oh, Peyton held on to it on the top left.
I think switching her in lineup has been a really good thing. Head coach Jenny Rowland said it allows her to really settle in after warm-up, and she is doing a fabulous job. That was a Yurchenko 1.5 stuck. I mean,
9.95 start value, but really held on to this, Bridget.
Really just, I love the fight. You see though, up on her tippy toes, but does not move her feet. That is going to be a big score. It's a 10-0 start value, Yurchenko 1.5, and she's got great form throughout. She's got the height, she's got the distance, and she finds that landing.
I beg your pardon, you're right, of course. Yurchenko 1.5 there, 10-0 start value, so we will see. As Sloan Blakely gets ready, bottom right for Maryland on floor. That was Reck just finishing up. There's Gracie Reeves' score for Arizona State just popping up on the bottom right side of your screen. Reeves with a 9.75.
And Peyton with a nice 9.9 on that vault. Sloan Blakely here, another 1.5. Nice high and dynamic, just a hop on the landing.
So Florida's got 9.85 and 9.9.
Sloan's an athlete who has really been able to kind of figure herself out in this NCAA scene. She's really been working on her confidence in the gym that is showing in competition.
Sloan shared the SEC vault title with a 9.95 in Duluth at the conference championships a couple of weeks ago. On bars, Mangahas sticks her dismount. Following up a 9.75 from Reeves and Samalee's 9.8.
Arizona State really working on the details. When we talked to head coach Jay Santos, he said, we've got a lot of dismounts up and down the lineup, but it's the details that we've really been focusing on. And they can be super clean, and when they stick, they can be great.
Kayla DiCello now. Take a look on bars. Top right of your screen, Mangahas.
The details in the body position in this dismount. Tuck full in, gets the stick. Love it. And Kayla DiCello, a massive Yurchenko 1.5, fights and gets the stick. That, in my eyes, that was a 10. I'm sure in the judges' eyes, they will find a deduction, but that was outstanding.
Whatever it goes down as, it's going to be a huge score here for the Gators. DiCello's having some kind of night.
Great height, great distance, and no movement on that landing.
Following up Sloan Blakely's score of 9.825. Florida will want to drop that one. They will have Bree Edwards and Chloe Clark to come after DiCello. And Edwards being inserted into the lineup for Trinity Thomas. So kind of coming off the bench, Bridget, but I guess you have to be ready for anything, don't you, down there in the corral?
Oh, absolutely. You never want to be put in last minute because that means something happened. But at the same time, you've always got to be ready. I watched Bree in warm-up, so she did get some warm-up reps in. It's not like she's coming out of this cold, but this is a huge moment for her. She's been in and out of the vault lineup throughout the season. But this is the moment for her to really prove to herself she should be in this vault lineup permanently. And a nice Yurchenko full, really nice job, very clean. It's a 9.95 start value. But it was really a beautiful vault. The hip extension, just the hop on the landing.
Kayla DiCello's score came in. So far, she's gone 9.959 and 9.95. Season high mark there. So looking very good in the all-around, and that's, of course, only coming into play should Florida not advance to nationals, but never bad to see a big score next to your name.
And that was Emily White in the upper right for Arizona State, coming after Hannah Sharp's 9.9. Arizona State is really making it tough for Maryland to catch up. They're putting up some big scores, and the confidence that these athletes are performing with is exceptional.
Yeah, the Sun Devils were only up by 0.2 on Maryland for that second and final qualifying position. And ASU is not making it easy at all for the Terps. Chloe Clark top left to finish Florida on vault.
Very nice Yurchenko full. You saw a lot of 10-0 start valued vaults in the beginning of their vault lineup. Not really what we're used to seeing when you think about vault lineups, but it works for them. Chloe Clark, this is her only event on vault, so she did have to wait, but she did a fabulous job on her event.
We may also see Victoria Wynn inserted into the anchor spot on Sundays, what Jenny Rowland told us, but Florida's got to get there first. They're in pretty good position as we wait on Clark's score to see what the Gators come up with in rotation number 3. Emily White just reset her career high for Arizona State on bars with a 9.925, and just the anchor, Sarah Clark, to come. This has the chance to be a really nice bars rotation for Arizona State, where they're tied for 14th in the country. This is their best rotation, their best event.
Beautiful pack down to the low bar for Sarah Clark.
Bottom left nice. Haley Gibble for Penn State.
And Sarah, just the dismount, exceptional. That was a beautiful bar routine. She's so calm with her swings, so elegant with her movements, but so dynamic at the same time. She really is the perfect storm up on uneven bars. And that coming after a 9.925, Alex, this could be a really big score for Arizona State. It should be.
I think there's a good chance, and the scores have just been doing nothing but building here in this third rotation for the Sun Devils. A 9.925 a moment ago for Emily White, following up Scharf's 9.9. I mean, at the moment, they are going to drop a 9.75 in the leadoff for Reeves. And then you've gone from 9.8 to 9.85 to 9.9 to 9.925, and whatever Clark puts up right there. We could be talking potentially, well, let's see. Once the words come in, yep, the number just came in, 9.925 for Clark, so it was a 49.4 rotation. Florida's was a 49.375, highlighted by the 9.95 from Kayla DiCello. So Florida is going to lead after the third rotation and be up 0.3 on Arizona State. But again, number 2 and 3 is the fight that we are watching here tonight. On the right side of your screen is Taylor Osterhout. That's for Maryland. Terps are just trying to stay in it and looking to drop Rhea LeBlanc's 9.775. Rek with a 9.85 and Komarovsky with a 9.875 so far.
And floor exercise is one of the better events for Maryland. They've got some big tumbling passes, nice controlled landings.
Cassidy Rushlow ready on beam. It's just her and then Maddie Johnston, who qualified as an individual. Her career high is a 9.9 this year, and she's in the anchor spot right after Rushlow goes. So what is the advantage going to be for the Sun Devils? That's what we're trying to determine here at the end of rotation number 3.
Cassidy Rushlow on beam right now. Gearing up for her acro series back handspring layout. Step out, slight balance check. You saw that front foot come off the beam.
Did stay on, and that's the key.
Nice cat leap to side aerial, gets it right back.
Back-to-back 9.875s now on the right side on floor for Maryland. At the moment, nothing below a 9.85 would be counting. And this is the all-arounder, Emma Silberman.
And Cassidy Rushlow, nice round off 1.5 to end that beam routine. Just a few balance checks throughout, but stays on the beam, which is always rule number 1 of balance beam, stay on. And had nice connections throughout. Not the beam routine she wanted, but ultimately not a bad job.
Penn State at the moment does not have a rotation below 49 at this point in the competition, representing extremely well with just Maddie Johnston to go on beam on the left side. And on the right, Silberman, who tore her ACL in a bars routine sophomore year. Brett Nelligan, the head coach, told us that she stayed at school and rehab, was really professional about that recovery. Her confidence maybe not the same as a junior, but now it's through the roof in her senior year.
And Emma closed this routine with what most athletes start their routine with. That was a front double twist. She's got so much difficulty in that routine, and as you see her running that smile, she didn't stop smiling that entire routine. I mean, you talk about an athlete who loves to compete and loves to compete for Maryland. It's Emma Silberman.
Also, I love the story for the Terps because the Nelligan tradition runs deep. 44 straight seasons now with a Nelligan at the helm of Maryland Gymnastics, because Brett took over for his dad, Bob, in 2009.
It's a lot of gymnastics. A lot of years of gymnastics for that family.
A lot. And especially Bob seeing what his son Brett has done, really building them up to a top 25 team for most of the season. Every week since week 5, 9 straight. And it is a program on the rise. There is no doubt about it. His one singular message, which I'm sure he is instilling at the moment in Reese McClure, is that from the moment you wake up today, don't spend a single one not being yourself, and whatever happens, happens.
Well, they're doing a fantastic job of just being themselves and competing with such passion and dedication.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's happening is you're giving yourself a pretty great chance to qualify to the regional final. Johnston finishing off her routine on the left side for Penn State. We await that score. Rushlow's was a 9.75, so Jessica Johansson's 9.725 is the score that at the moment will be dropped. They need a good one coming in here from Johnston to stay in the competition and a chance to advance in the top 2.
And Reese McClure on floor for Maryland.
Brett told us that this routine is a real highlight. I mean, you can hear the Disco Inferno. It's a 70s themed routine. Last year she did the 90s hip hop routine and decided how could she pass that up by doing another theme. And it's disco. There's Dancing Queen.
Reese front layout, front full. Solid on that landing.
Really good. And McClure's following up Silberman's 9.9. That's the highest score at the moment in this rotation. They are most likely going to drop a 9.775, which means nothing below a 9.85 pending Reese McClure's score here.
And take a look here, front layout to front 1.5, just gets right to her lunge. Great control, and then finishes this routine with a front layout to a front full. Again, gets right to her finish. An excellent performer, and I love the immediate reaction, the hugs to the coaches and back to her teammates to celebrate.
By the way, Maddie Johnston's score tied her career high at 9.9 for Penn State on beam, which means their rotation was a 49.15. They did exactly what the Nittany Lions had to do. And we are just waiting on Reese McClure and one more individual to go as well in rotation 3. Temple's Renee Shugman making the trip across the state, her first one to regionals. Really impressive though. These are 4 teams that are hitting on all cylinders. Reese McClure's score, 9.85. It's a 49.35 on floor for Maryland.
Outstanding performance for them.
That is their best rotation this year, tied for 20th in the country. Right around their NQS of 49.375. And what does Shugman have in store for us? 5 scores this year of 9.9 or higher.
Opens up with her combination 1.5 to front full. Just out there having fun, performing.
Becoming a real favorite of the Maryland team. This is Renee's only event she qualified for, And her time to shine with one final pass.
Double pike, little short on that rotation, just took a hop into her lunge forward, but very nice performance for Renee. A junior, her first trip to regionals, hoping to qualify to nationals here.
And so this is about as tight as you would have expected. Florida's only on top of Arizona State for first place right now in session number 2 by 3/10. I don't think we expected the gap to be that narrow, but the one that really matters is Arizona State and Maryland at the moment. Right now it is a quarter of a point. 0.25 is the margin at the moment. Bridget, this is really all you can ask for. High drama as we go to the 4th rotation.
Absolutely. You've got Maryland heading to vault, Florida heading to bars, and Arizona State heading to beam. Of course, Penn State going to end on floor, but Arizona State ending on an event that normally can give teams a lot of trouble. It is only 4 inches wide, and when you are off, you are off. But Arizona State wanting to be right on top of that balance beam and hit 6 for 6. I think they're going to do it.
We will see. That is what stands in between the Sun Devils and a trip to the regional finals on Sunday. Top 2 teams advance right now. It's Florida and Arizona State, but Penn State, Maryland are right there as well. Back next. One rotation left in Pittsburgh. Alex Perlman with 9-time NCAA champion Bridget Sloan. And we have some teams that are really trying to get to Sunday. There is no question that all 4 are pretty much still in play. If there are a few mistakes here and there, we'll preview the 4th rotation in a moment. But first, let's show you what happened in the 3rd. It started for Florida on vault. Kayla DiCello, who is putting together a tremendous night in the all-around as well.
Yurchenko 1.5 here, sticks it cold and gets a massive 9.95 for Florida. She is having an outstanding evening for herself. And on to uneven bars, Sarah Clark, Arizona State. Beautiful lines, excellent execution. It finishes with a beautiful double layout to get a 9.925. Maddie Johnson for Penn State, right over the top of the beam. The difficulty and the smoothness she brings. She is a cool cat when she competes. Gets a 9.9 on that beam routine. And Emma Silberman for Maryland, an outstanding athlete in the gym, outside the gym. So talented, finishes with an E front double twist and gets a nice 9.9.
Coach Brent Elegant said that he is trying his best to convince Emma to come back for a 5th season, though she wants to be a special needs teacher. So he's not winning that battle at this point, but I would imagine the war is not quite yet over. All right, so after 3 rotations, Florida's lead is dropped down to just 3/10. Again, if you are just joining us, during her floor routine, in the middle of it, Trinity Thomas walked off. She was able to come back out under her own power. She's put on sweatpants. She is done for the evening. But the good news is that she walked back out to join her teammates after being evaluated in the medical tent. So all of this you kind of take with a grain of salt for Florida, because they had to put Bree Edwards into the vault lineup last rotation. And again, you want to make sure that her health is paramount. That is the #1 concern. And the Gators are doing just that, and they are in great shape to advance. But they do need 5 pretty good scores to come in. Bridget, we know that they're more than capable of it, but I wouldn't say the pressure is quite off of Florida just yet.
No, the pressure it's different pressure. The pressure should never be to be perfect, but for the 6 athletes going for Florida on uneven bars, an event that they are outstanding on, it's really be normal. Head coach Jenny Rowland, she really reiterates this a lot with this team, is just when they are normal and they are having fun, they are doing amazing gymnastics. I expect to see them put up some big scores. They've got the depth, and they just need to go out there and be normal.
Peyton Richards inserted into the lineup in the anchor spot. I would imagine that Jenny Rowland is hoping that score doesn't really even matter and that they can drop it no matter what, get 5 really high scores before that as the lineup is shuffled around. Okay, the stage is set. The top left is Maryland. They will finish first, and so they will be the leader in the clubhouse when it is all not said and done, but when their vault rotation is finished. Florida on bars in the top right. Beam for Arizona State in the bottom left, and Penn State is on floor in the bottom right to close out. Remember, the margin at the moment is 3/10.
And starting on vault for Maryland, head coach Brett Nelligan, he mentions they're really focusing on the sticks or the steps forward. They don't want to show any sort of under rotation. And just like that, Josephine Kogler, Yurchenko full, stuck landing. And Sloan Blakely in the top right, putting on a show. Outstanding job on uneven bars for Sloan. In the leadoff position, she really likes that leadoff position, does a great job getting her team going.
Bottom right for Penn State, Maddie Johnston to start off, followed by Ava Piedrahita finishing off her all-around. Here's Sloan Blakely on the top right.
So half pirouette into a double front. She's going to do a front giant and double front blind landing and just nails it.
So how does Arizona State and Maryland compare? Because that is really what we're most interested in at the moment. The Terrapins are 26th in the country on vault. Arizona State on beam is 19th, tied for 19th with a 49.255 is their NQS. On vault of 49.16 for Maryland. So there is not a lot of difference there. And on the top right, Victoria Wynn following up the 9.9 from Blakely.
In order for Maryland to advance, they're gonna need Arizona State to help them out a little bit. Not have a massive error, but they are gonna need for Arizona State to have some balance checks, because if Arizona State hits balance beam, they will be advancing. Maryland has great vault, but they just don't have the difficulty to really bump into that second place position. So right now, Arizona State, all they have to do is stay on the balance beam, and there should not be an issue advancing to Sunday.
Kayla Lee's opening score was a 9.75 on beam for Arizona State. So if you just want to focus your attention to the left side of your screen with Maryland at the top and Arizona State at the bottom, that's the battle for second at the moment and the final spot to qualify for the regional final. So on vault for Maryland, 9.8, 9.75. Reese McClure following that up.
And Reese, a nice Yurchenko full, but had a pretty big hop backwards. Wait.
Watch Reeves in the bottom left on beam.
Triple series, back handspring, layout step out right over the top. And finishes with a stuck round off 1.5.
That should put them in position to drop the 9.75 at the moment. Though still 4 more gymnasts to go on beam for Arizona State. Remember, we are going to know the number that the Sun Devils need, because in the top left for Maryland, they are going to finish first, vault being the quickest. You just saw Kayla DiCello finish her all-around day in the top right. A 9-9 on bars for DiCello would clinch the all-around across both sessions today.
I have a feeling she will be getting a 9-9, maybe even a 9-9 plus with that routine. Not a lot of room for error there. She's so precise with her movements.
An All-American on bars this year, and it looks like it might be a 10.
What a
She
moment.
is the nation's only freshman with 110 this year. Is it number 2? From the reaction, it certainly seems like it. We await the score for Kayla DiCello.
Such a special athlete, so much talent, and she competes like she's been competing in college for years. I mean, she's a freshman, but she competes like a veteran. Feet just glued together. Takes that release, the Van Leeuwen right up to the high bar. And this dismount.
It's perfection. It is Kayla DiCello's second 10 of her career already. And it also means this is going to be a 39-8 in the all-around. Absolutely massive night as Kayla DiCello gets introduced to the NCAA championship.
Sky Harper in that bottom left just nailed her beam routine. Arizona State, they are building, starting with that 9.75 and 9.825.
Nice vault in the top left, though, for Olivia Weir as she tries to keep Maryland in it. Arizona State has not opened up the door just yet. The Gators are certainly going out and really putting through their dominance at the moment, dropping Victoria wins 9-8-5 with Wong, McCusker, and Richard still to come. Now, Wong just went. We're waiting on her score, but McCusker and Richards ready to finish off this rotation in the top right for Florida. Olivia Weir scores a 9-8 on vault. Follows up a 9.725, a 9.75, and a 9.8. They need some big ones from Emma Silberman. If there's ever a time for her to put together her best vault, it is right now, with the Terps on the cusp of potentially advancing to the regional final.
The top right, this is Riley McCusker really showing off on this bar routine. Just a slight hop on the dismount. Again, an athlete who you can tell, she loves gymnastics again, and she smiles and is so happy to be out there. And wow, Emma Silberman.
Well, if that was her final routine in college, she could be proud of it. Gets a hug from the coaching staff. And on the bottom left, Arizona State with with Sarah Clark looking for Harper's score to see just how much leeway Arizona State here has at the end. Sky Harper scores a 9.875, still dropping the 9.75, nothing below a 9.825 at the moment for the Sun Devils, who, remember, brought a 3/10 lead into rotation 4 on top of Maryland. It's Grace Valancourt. Check that, Polina Belinovsky on the top left for Towson. Ranks second in the Eagle on vault as she tries to qualify as an individual. Top right is Peyton Richards finishing off the night for the Gators with a stick.
Excellent job for Peyton.
Oh, what a vault on the top left for Belinovsky.
Absolutely beautiful execution throughout that vault. It was a Yurchenko full. Nice straight legs, open hips. I don't think she could have done it any better. Take a look at this upper left. It's a Yurchenko full. just the slightest bend in her hips, but fights for that landing and gets the stick.
All right, so Maryland is done. Their score is in, just a 48.925 in their vault rotation. And so their final score for the meet, as we wait on it to just get tallied, so we have the exact final score. Bring it to you in just a moment for Arizona State. On the bottom left, that's what we were looking for here in Emily White. Just right and sharp to go. Alexis Rubio scores a 9.825 in the anchor spot on vault for Maryland, and so it's a 196.675. That is the mark that Arizona State has to beat. And probably will, with Sarah Clark's score coming in at 9.9.
And Emily White coming after that 9.9. The scores are building just like they're supposed to, so she is being set up for a very nice score. She's confident up on the balance beam. She's smooth with her movements.
This has been an absolutely textbook beam lineup for Jay Santos.
He said he's got a great beam team, and he was not lying.
No.
They are fighters, and they are not giving anything up.
Jessica Johansson's score just came in for Penn State as a 9.9. Hang on. They're making some noise. Back-to-back 9.9s now for the Nittany Lions, as Emily White puts her dismount down, and that, I don't know if it just about sews it up, but I would imagine now they'll be able to drop a 9.75 at the moment.
And Emily White, the acro series, just right over the top. Her arms always have a home base. Finishes this routine with a stuck back handspring into a 1.5 twist. Really nice work.
Florida has already advanced as Isabella Salcedo competes on floor on the right side. And so now it seems like the only question, who is going to finish in third? Penn State with a really strong floor rotation here to finish off. Could very well vault Maryland into the high 196. That would be almost a point higher than they scored against Towson yesterday in the first round.
Isabella Salcedo opens up with a double front.
Just Hannah Sharp to go on the left side for Arizona State on beam. The anchor is ready. Emily White scores a 9.925, which is the highest so far on beam for Arizona State. They have built collectively, starting with the 9.825 after Kayla Lee's 9.75. Florida State and Arizona State have advanced no matter what Scharf does. The Sun Devils will be in action on Sunday. And what a bounce back from last year when, Bridget, they were seeded. They finished last in session 2 at the Norman Regionals. It was really disappointing. And there has been no repeat performance by any means. And they look much, much better.
You can just tell the determination from Arizona State and from Penn State. Both these teams ending on balance beam and floor exercise. Isabella Salcedo, this first pass, the double front. Really, both these teams are showing up tonight. Arizona State solidifying, advancing to Sunday. This means that Hannah just needs to go up there and have a good time on balance beam, if she can. It's a pretty nerve-wracking event, but there is no pressure yet. She is probably going to be putting up a huge score, dropping that 9.75.
I think that's
such a special moment.
Yeah, probably all but guaranteed at this point after Sharp finishes off on beam. Another 9.9 just came in for Penn State for Salcedo, which means they're dropping a 9.75 and counting 3 9.9s, with Amani Herring the only gymnast left to go in session 2 in Pittsburgh.
And Amani opening up with a Arabian double front. Landed a little bit low, but recovers well. You saw her take that step backwards.
The incredible thing is that this is Penn State's least successful event by a landslide, only coming in on floor with a 49.1 NQS and 47th in the country. They are showing out here in Pittsburgh, in the same state. They're showing that maybe location, it does matter.
Well, Penn State coming after the play-in round. So this is the second day of competition for this Penn State team, which is, I know I personally did not enjoy the back-to-back competition days. It is extremely exhausting, but right now they have 3 9.9s on floor. Amani Herring being set up for a huge score here. Nice 1.5 to front layout. What a great overall performance for Penn State. Came in on paper, not likely to be advancing to Sunday, but put up some huge scores, definitely boosting their confidence. And really just showing up today.
This is the highest floor rotation for Penn State in their NCAA championship history.
What better time to do it than at the NCAA regionals?
And so the final scores are in. Remember, these are all unofficial at the moment. But look, here is what we have learned from session number 2, is that Florida is going to be a problem, just as we expected. Their chances of advancing are still extremely high. Not only, of course, to the regional final, which they just did, that's finished, but of course getting to Fort Worth and getting to the NCAA Nationals. If Arizona State puts this together, Cal could very well be in trouble. Michigan State is going to have a difficult time. The Sun Devils just showed to everybody in this country, and everybody in Pittsburgh for sure, Bridget, that they are not to be messed with. And if they put it all together, they very well could book their ticket to Texas.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're really thinking about it, no team today, from the afternoon to the evening session, had perfect days. Definitely some room to improve across the board, which is something to really showcase on Sunday, that everybody is going to have to take that step up. Stuck landings, handstands, all those details that, of course, I'm sure those coaches remind them constantly during practice. Those are the tenths that are going to be the difference of your season ending Sunday and qualifying and moving on to NCAAs in Texas.
And so it is all of the seeds. It's totally chalk here in Pittsburgh as Florida and Arizona State advance to the regional final out of session 2. Bridget and I will be back to wrap it up for you and put a bow. Look forward to Sunday as well when we come back. Florida and Arizona State moving on to the regional final here in Pittsburgh. A bit of a mixed bag for Gator fans who made the trip here to Pittsburgh because, yes, Florida advanced within 197.875. They took the top spot in session 2, but we are wondering about the status of Trinity Thomas, and we will continue to keep our eyes on that as we head towards the regional final on Sunday. She walked off under her own power on floor, exited, went to the medical tent, and then came back under her own power, put some sweatpants on, and continued to cheer on her team, but did not compete in the second 2 rotations for Florida. Looking back at the fourth rotation, though, this was really exciting, Bridget, because we had three teams that were really vying for that final spot going in. And for Maryland, it was all about Rubio here, Alexis Rubio's 9.825. Good showing for the Terps.
Absolutely. And then on to bars for Florida. Kayla DiCello. Perfect 10, the only freshman with multiple 10s on uneven bars. She had a lights-out performance on all four events, but really capitalized tonight on uneven bars, scoring that perfect 10 in over to balance beam Arizona State. Hannah Sharp, a career-high 9.95 with this beam routine in that anchor spot. Didn't even need it. Didn't need the career-high score, but said, no problem, I'm going to do it anyway. Went 9.95. And Isabella Salcedo, a season high here for Penn State. 9.9 for Isabella. And just a great performer, putting up those big scores and having a lights out rotation for Penn State on floor.
Yeah, Penn State had a 49.35 on floor, and actually they finish in third ahead of Maryland. We just got official word from Florida on Trinity Thomas. It is a right lower leg injury, and she is officially day-to-day. So that certainly does open up the possibility, Bridget, that we could see her in the regional final on Sunday. And then, of course, if not then, if Florida advances to Fort Worth, maybe we see her at NCAA Nationals.
Definitely a possibility, and we've talked about the depth of Florida. They have the athletes that need to go in if necessary. But of course, Trinity Thomas, the performer she is, she wants to be out there. She wants to be competing for her team. So hopefully taking it day by day, we'll see where she is at come Sunday. But ultimately, an outstanding performance from all four of the teams tonight. Really impressive work.
We'll step aside as we wait for the official results here in Pittsburgh. But we do know it's Florida and Arizona State advancing to the regional final to face Cal and Michigan State. Just waiting to finalize the scores here in session 2 of the Pittsburgh Regional, but we do know the 4 teams that are advancing. And check this out, it is all chalk, all of the national seeds going to the regional final on Sunday. But Bridget, not necessarily in the order you would have expected. Michigan State certainly has some work to do, get back to the drawing board for Mike Rowe and the Spartans. Cal in a pretty good spot, but it's Florida and Arizona State that stole the show here, both in session number 2.
And really, across the board, all 4 of those teams did not have perfect evenings, but come Sunday, it's going to come down to who hits the most handstands, who has the most stuck landings. And Michigan State, they have a lot more to give, so I know that they are going to go back. I'm sure Mike has already talked to them about really honing in on the detail work, but ultimately, Sunday is going to be extremely fun, and I cannot wait to cover that.
Cannot wait is exactly the right term. All right, well, the scores are official. They are in, and we'll send it to public address announcer Colin Sisk.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for awards. Congratulations to the Sun Devils of Arizona State University and the Gators from the University of Florida for advancing to the regional final.
All right, well, there you heard it. It is Florida and Arizona State. Bridget, Sunday should be a whole lot of fun. And honestly, any of those 4 teams could take the 2 spots.
Absolutely. It is anybody's day come Sunday. Gonna have to see Michigan State and Cal up their game a little bit. They were in the first session, so I think they have a lot of time to get their minds right going into Sunday. But Arizona State and Florida both really just exceptional. Arizona State coming in. Not sure if they were convinced that they were going to qualify, but man, throughout that whole meet, they just got better and better and were capitalizing on the momentum that they kept going. Really had a fantastic evening.
So we are just about done here in Pittsburgh. You can switch over on ESPN Plus to the Denver Regional, which just got started with their session 2. Bridget and I will be back with you on Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern, here on ESPN Plus for the regional final. And there it is, Cal, Michigan State, Florida, and Arizona State. We will talk to you then. With Bridget Sloan for our fantastic ESPN Plus crew, I'm Alex Perlman saying so long. Florida, Arizona State, heading to Sunday.